Thanks, everybody. Welcome back to The Business. We're the show that bridges the gap between the music and the business. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Symbolic Soul. She's a poet, author, and artist. And she has been through a number of challenges, and she's emerged with her story of truth-telling. And I really wanted to bring her on because, again, I think it's some valuable jewels that she can give our listening and watching audience. So without further ado, Symbolic Soul, you want to tell us a little bit about your background and for people who may not be as familiar with you?
Yes. So thanks for having me, first of all.
Sure.
I'm happy to be here. I go by the name Symbolic Soul. I'm originally from New Orleans and I reside in Texas, San Antonio, Texas right now. I've been here about years. San Antonio is cool, but it's nothing like New Orleans. Shout out to New Orleans. I always got to shout out my city.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm a poet. I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker, life coach. You name it. God, with
Life coach.
God,
Wow.
Everything is possible. Basically.
Yes. Okay, so you mentioned off screen that you've been doing it for a couple of years now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now that we're a little bit familiar with your background, I wanted to ask, and you actually took a bit away of what I was going to mention, that you started out in New Orleans, moved to San Antonio, but also you said that you found your purpose, and there was a series of life-changing events, as you put it on your website, that prompted the move and help you find your purpose. You want to talk about that?
Yes, actually, it was my ex. My ex was in the military. That's what brought me to Killeen.
Okay.
And so we went through some things. First, we went to Hawaii, and we went through some things because any kind of military relationship is always a challenge, because they have to be gone. And then basically the military, what I felt like, the military owns you whenever. Right. You were in the military, even though it's a good thing. I'm not knocking the military or anything like that. Right. But the spouse, on the other hand, they are the ones that get left behind. If they don't have anything to do, they're just left to raise the kids. Mm-hmm. So basically, when I was in Hawaii, I just thought about it, and I was like, well, what about me? And I was just like, I was lost. I dropped out of school and everything. So basically in Hawaii, I went to get my GED and take the test again. And that's how I was able to do that. And then once I moved here to San Antonio, I went to school again several times because I got my graphic design degree. Then I got my sociology degree. And so just from there, I feel like God guided me in those steps. Because what it was is, ever since I didn't have my diploma, I was like having these dreams of me walking across the stage. And so I was just like, it was something that I was supposed to complete, and my life wasn't complete until I done that. And that's basically what happened.
Right. Okay. And then, so what from where you were in that position, what inspired you to start writing poetry? Had you always been writing poetry? Is that something that you just got more serious about at that point, or? Yeah.
Honestly, when I was a kid, I used to write songs. Like I always had these making noise. That's what people would call it. But I was making beats and stuff, and I would write songs, like little songs or whatever. But anyway, like anything, when you have a gift and talent, or gifts or talents, and you don't use them, you can lose them. Right. So within my life, it kind of disappeared. Then when I became a teenager, I tried to have a rap career or whatever. That didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. So anyway, after that, I haven't doing it. But it took me, when I found God instilled in me, and then I started seeing myself in God's eyes. And when I started doing that, that's when my gifts and talents came back, and God was like, you know what, you can do it all. I can do everything through him.
Yeah, true indeed. No, let me ask you about the motivational speaker, because I didn't know about the motivational speaker part. So how did is that something that came about from the poetry that you started doing, or?
Well, yeah, it first started where I was just like, when I had a different perspective on life. Okay. And when I had a different perspective on life, I just remembered when I was at a certain point in my at a certain point in my life where I would motivate and encourage people. So I just started on Facebook, just just doing different posts and stuff like that, and putting up different quotes and stuff like that. And from there, yeah, once I became a poet, then I had started getting signed to speak different places and everything like that.
Yes, yeah. I always ask artists, poets, musicians, how did they come up with their name? How did you come up with your name?
Well, I was just like, okay, so everything was like, okay, I just was sitting there and I was like, what do I do? Because I feel like a name is very important,
It
basically.
is.
So I was like, what do I do? And I said, okay, I think I'm a symbol, right? And I said, okay, and what do I do? I said, I'm a symbol for God. So I save souls. So I said, okay, I'm Symbolic Soul. And
Mm,
so basically, I feel like God gave me that name. That's the new name that He gave me, basically.
nice. Okay. All right. So has the last year, all of us have been affected by the COVID shutdowns in some way, form, or fashion. Has it affected your career at all, you think, or do you think?
It
Yeah.
has, but it also helped me soar too because I was diagnosed, uh, you know, um, tested positive for COVID-19 in August of last year,
Okay.
and just going through that situation was very eye opening for me because you know how you think a lot of people was questioning whether it was real or not
Real.
and
Yes.
everything like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I still don't even know how I got it. I felt like I was very careful. I felt like I did everything the CDC said,
Mm,
but and then I just got it. And then just being in that space, just like, just dealing with that and not knowing it was a trying time, basically. It was that tough that I even made it into a song. And
okay.
well, that's one of them that's going to be on my album, one
Okay.
of my tracks on my album that
Okay.
I yeah.
So, so is this your first project or is this
It
second?
is my first album. Yes,
Okay.
I had like singles out, but this is my first album. So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Okay. All right. And you want to talk about the project a little bit, like what we can expect, maybe who you work with to put it together, because it takes a whole team obviously to do something
Yes,
like
yes, it
an album.
does.
Yeah.
I have like several different producers on there. Almasi is one of them.
Okay.
Nooney is another producer on there, and then the main producer is Sensei Kenji, and he's the one that just like, I mean, we just connected and we just made magic happen.
Mhm.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But I also have this rapper from New Orleans named 3D Nati on there. I'm excited because even when I first started this journey, I was watching her, and amazing how God does things, because I was watching her, and just to have her now feature on my album, it's I'm so humbled and blessed for this for the just to have it.
Yeah. Great. Great. So when is it dropping? Can you,
March 20th. March 20th.
March
I'm
20th.
also having an album release party too on March 20th as well.
Okay. Okay. Now bringing it back to what I talk about at the top of my show, and we're the show that bridges the gap between the music and the business. So, what challenges have you faced along those lines, business-wise, as far as getting your support system and developing a team? And because we all start from scratch, we all start from zero, right? So, how did you develop by you being a motivational speaker? There has to be had gathered a crowd that wanted to hear you speak, or how did you gather your team around you, and that type of thing, as far as the behind the scenes stuff. How did you go about doing that?
Well, basically, like I said, I just started off as just being me, and
Mhm.
basically just like being on social media. On
Yeah.
social media, I started just like posting, and then people started following me. They
Okay.
wanted to hear what I had to say. So when people started doing that, I started doing like going to different open mics, just putting myself out there, because a lot of times we be scared and we
Yeah.
let fear stop us. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step out on fear. I wasn't gonna let nothing stop me. If God said it was possible, that's all I needed was a yes from Him. Once
Yeah.
I had a yes from Him, I took and put and went several different places, because that's all I needed was that yes. you know. So, and then again, I live by the, for every no, you're coming closer to a yes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So
mm,
that's what human form, that's my human form. But all I needed was that the most high, yes. And then I was able to go. And then I also live by closed mouths don't get fed. So if you can't speak
that's
on
it right
something,
there.
you know what I'm saying? If you can't speak on it,
Mm,
and you rather just sit there and be silent about it, how
mm.
somebody gonna know? How
There
somebody
you
gonna
go.
know what you're doing? You got to
There you
put
go.
yourself out there.
There you go. I'm so glad you touched on that, because to me that's really the keystone of this whole conversation, because you can have all the talent in the world, you can have all the technical knowledge in the world on how to do something, but if you don't get out there, and I go by that saying, the squeaky wheel doesn't get oil, you know, closed mouth doesn't get fed. I go by those mottos as well, because if you don't speak on it and let people know you have a message, then it'll go unheard. You know, you can have the greatest music, you can have the greatest poetry in the world, but and even with God, like I don't want to get too, I don't want to get too off the tracks with this, but I say all the time, people say, well, God has me. But the thing about it, God will, you know, make it possible, but he expects you to do the work. He expects you to
Yeah.
do some work. He's not gonna, things are not just gonna deliver themselves. Expect you to put in the work, because he, you know, he delivers that lane for you, but you have to, you know, you have to want that. You have to go after that. So I'm glad that you touched on the fact that you had a purpose, and it's not enough to have the purpose, but you got to have that grind and that hustle behind it. And again, one door closes, then a couple other doors open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important.
Absolutely.
That's important for people to know that. So what would you like to do? I mean, what's your aspirations here coming up? So you're about to drop an album, you're going to have a release party. What's your aspirations with it? Are you going to be doing like live events, or what? Not, I saw a couple of things on your website where you've been, you know, on different shows before, and spreading the message. But what's your kind of end game? What do you want to do with your poetry? What do you see yourself doing with it? All
Um,
talents, and everything.
my end game is
Yeah.
basically I want to be worldwide. I want to be worldwide. I want to bring God to people, and the way I do it is in a different way. I don't
Mhm.
just come straight out and say it. And
Right.
that's what makes me a different type of poet. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a message behind it, but it's like a hidden message. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always going to talk about God, and you going to know that that's what I stand for.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't curse at all. I don't curse in life, and I don't curse in none of my music or nothing that I do. You know, because I'm strictly, that's my symbol. That's my sign. I'm a sign for God, and
Yeah.
that's what I do. So basically, I just want to be able to go worldwide. I plan on touring. I
Okay.
plan on doing more speaking engagements and stuff like that,
Okay.
and also, you know, just more events where I could bring women together and culture together, just do it for the culture, and just to heal. That's my main thing, is to just help the world heal, you know.
Yeah. I believe it's funny you say that, because I believe in doing the same thing. Now, I'll say in a lot of my music as well, because I want to just relate it to what you were saying. I don't think there's a lot of artists such as yourself out there. So I like to praise you for that. That I think some people don't get heard because the message is overbearing, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
What you said was, hey, I'm going to be myself, and I try to put that message within there where it's being heard, but it's not pushing people away. But actually, it's more of the law of attraction. It's actually attracting people. And
Mhm.
so uh, I actually, and it's all about you, but I actually have a project coming up. It's called Medicine Disguised as Ice Cream. Basically what you're saying, right? So the ice cream is all of that kind of fluff out here, right? That people hear, but the medicine is a message. The medicine is a substance that you sneak in there, right? So
Mhm.
like for what that to me, that's like fits perfectly. So I just had to make that parallel, but that's awesome, because and I've listened to your art, and I really love it. So uh,
Thank you, thank you.
yeah, and that was another reason I was like, yeah, I gotta, I really want to do the interview and expose you to my audience, and so they can kind of check out and see what you do. you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
still hear that New Orleans like accent, you know. That's dope.
That's cool because I be thinking it's gone. Because like when I go home, like I can really hear people New Orleans accent. But when I go home, I be like, man, I don't think I sound like that.
Y'all got your own way. Y'all got your own swag. You know what I'm saying? I really like love that. I got a chance to visit before. I was just like, man, this is a beautiful place. Y'all got your own swag, you know, and that's just, you know, it's really distinctive. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. So is there anything else you want to tell the viewers and the listeners? I think it's been very informative. Oh, give us the name of the project again. Can you give us a
Oh, okay. So the name of my project is Beautifully Flawed. The features I do have on there, this singer, she's the bomb, Jay
okay.
King. You know, my producer is Sensei Ken J.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, I got the artist from New Orleans on there, 3D Nati. I
Mm-hmm.
also have the Poet Laureate in San Antonio vocab. I'm so excited. And just how that happened again, closed mouths don't get fed. I'm
That's
telling
right.
you, when
That's
you
right.
when you have that little thing in you that tells you to reach out and do something, do it, because you never know what opportunities that you are passing by if you just sit there and be silent and not put yourself out there. You know,
That's
basically
right.
you gotta put yourself out there. But yes, my album is amazing.
Yeah, okay, okay.
It's a
It's going
whole
to be
vibe. People gonna
available.
like it.
It's going to be available on all platforms. Is that
Yes, on all platforms on
okay?
March 20th.
Okay,
Yes.
Marshall. One more thing I want to ask you before we get up out of here. Who are your influences as far as what you do, as far as the your art? Who is your? Did you have any influences? Or yeah,
I
I know.
I did. I liked Maya Angelou. Right,
Okay.
she was one of
Yes.
them.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Just like I was telling you, the people that was my influencer,
Mm-hmm.
like especially like the ones who hosting. La Film Nikita is hosting my album release party,
Oh
and
wow.
again, when I first started doing
Mm-hmm.
poetry in San Antonio, I was watching these people. I was going to shows, watching them, and now for to have her host my event it's I'm humbled, I'm amazed. And
Amazing.
just even to have vocab, which is the poet laureate, just on my album as a feature, you know, I was watching her. It's just I'm everybody who I was watching, I'm telling you, with God everything is possible.
Yes.
That's all the glory belongs to him. And I'm
Yes.
just humbled.
Wow. That's awesome. It's very inspiring because like you said, the people that you looked up to, and now um they're right next to you now. They're actually your, you know,
Yes.
they're actually your contemporaries, right? So
Yes.
now it's yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool.
So you can't never let nobody tell you what you can't do. Just
Yes.
because they believe and they think so small, that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you can't think bigger.
No, that's great. That's great. I think so many people give up before, like that's what separates the people who go on to achieve their dreams and the people who don't, because we, they get a couple doors closed on them, then they're done. You know, it's kind of like, oh, they get discouraged. But the fact, like you said, you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and when you know there's a purpose and it's like you said, it's ordained by God, there's no stopping that, right? There's no stopping it.
Yes.
When you know that it's a purpose and it's not just something you're doing as a hobby, it's just not something that that you know you're playing around with, and it's a purpose. And when you have a purpose, it's more of when you have a purpose, it's more of something that directs your life, that guides you,
Yes.
right? It's not a plaything at that point. So that's the difference, right? You're hearing it right here. That's the difference. When you have a purpose and you know that you have God's back and you're doing what's right, you know, anything is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when you found your purpose, you're
Mhm.
living.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
don't have a purpose, you're just existing.
There you
That's
go.
how I felt for
There you go.
years and years and years.
Yeah.
So just, you know, your purpose could be anything. It could be whatever you're passionate about, you can turn it into your purpose. But
Yeah.
you find that purpose, you're actually living.
Yes. Wow, that's well put. That's well put. So today, I just wanted to also thank you, Symbolic Soul, for coming on the show and enlightening us and encouraging us and inspiring us. And best of, I want to wish you the best with the new project and everything you have coming up. We will be on the lookout for that new project coming up here later this month.
Thank you, thank
And
you, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Oh, I
And,
also have my here's my book.
oh, okay, there you
Yes.
go. See? You already got it. So you already got the cover. That's hot. Yeah. So hey,
um,
yeah. Go
you
ahead.
can purchase my book. I was just gonna say, yeah, you can purchase my book at 77.com.
Okay.
You can also follow me on Instagram at Symbolic. Just reach out to me. Everything is
Okay.
it's all love. Reach
All
me.
love.
I'll talk to me. I'll talk back.
Okay. All right. So we got all your credentials everywhere to get the book, or where to get in touch with you and everything else. I want to thank you once again. This has been the business show that bridges the gap between the music and the business. We see you guys back in a couple Wednesdays from now. Thank you for joining me. As always, respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
I'm Jay Herb. I run Charles and Trimble. Thanks for checking out this episode of The Business, our new show every other Wednesday where we dive into the inner workings of the music business, behind the scenes with the music professionals who live it and breathe it every day. Be sure to like and subscribe. And for more content daily, head over to our IG page, Charles and Trimble. Until next time, thanks.